Welcome to the MENA Women's Branding Virtual Forum, hosted by Leila Hatoum. Leila is an advisor to Lebanon's acting Prime Minister Dr. Hassan Diab on foreign media affairs, media consultant and trainer reporting on Lebanon and the Greater Middle East region since 2000. Her experience includes covering MENA states' financial policies, covering geopolitical events, in addition to giving media economic and strategic consultation to Arab and GCC officials, as well as regional and international CEOs and companies. Founder of MENA Comms, a boutique media consultancy and strategy setting company that handles crisis management and provides cross-border media advisory and media training. Co-founding partner Mideast Wire, which aggregates regional news, Leila is also co-founder of the Beirut Exchange and the Gulf Exchange programs.
Every woman knows the importance of being branded so she can stand out in the marketplace. Whether we know it or not, like it or not, our name is our business. Welcome to the Middle Eastern Women's Forum for Personal Branding. I'm your host, Leila Hatoum. Today we are joined by an impressive panel of MENA women who are transforming the world. We have Aleen Zakka, Jinan Dalloul, Viola Edward, and global branding strategist Chris Collins. Coming up, we will be doing an assessment and provide recommendations to a leading MENA woman CEO, Viola Edward. Up first, we have Jinan Dalloul, who is the director of UAE and Jordan for the Ascendant Global, a lead agency in CEO branding, currently ranked third globally among 11,400 other agencies on AdWorld Masters. Jinan is a citizen of the world due to the culturally rich and diverse life that she has had. She has worked with the likes of royalty, celebrities, writers, chefs, fashion and jewelry designers, among others. Her goals in business and life are deeply rooted in connection, communication, lifestyle, and loyalty. Jinan often says that business is people. When you listen to people, you listen to business. So listen well, smile, don't panic, and enjoy the experiences you get through others' lives. Joining Jinan is one of the region's leading personal branding experts and president of MENA division of Ascendant Global, Aleen Zakka. Aleen started her entrepreneur journey in digital marketing with a few brands, ultimately opening a venture from basic digital media products and projects to advanced digital branding for CEOs and leaders before starting Network Solutions. As a founder and CEO, Aleen helped grow brands, CEOs, and top directors in the Middle East region to widely use social media platforms. Aleen is a digital strategist and a hacker at heart who is always looking for simple and ultimately efficient ways to solve profiling challenges. She shares her knowledge through videos on her YouTube channel and uses her personal social platform to help leading entrepreneurs improve their personal accounts. Joining her will be Chris Collins, co-founder and CEO of Executive Branding Agency, an initiative started in conjunction with the Ascendant Global. Chris is one of the most sought-after brand strategists and designers in the Western Hemisphere. He has rebranded multi-million-dollar businesses and has a long list of celebrity clients. His immersive approach and outspoken style have made him the man behind the brand for a variety of tech startups, entertainment projects, and consumer packaged goods. My first question, can each of you give us a little bit more about your journeys and your experiences with branding women leaders? How about we start with Chris?
Yalla, Chris.
Great. Sounds great. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I'm Chris Collins. I'm glad to be on the call. So my journey to branding has been many years. My job is on the creative side, which means that I make a lot of the creative decisions. I mean, my clients, of course, make the decisions, but I'm the one providing the options, and I'm usually the one that's kind of nudging them in a certain direction. So when I say creative, that really means everything from language decisions, like what's the tagline, what's the main idea we're running with, what's our main sort of sales thrust, down to picking a color, designing a logo, positioning somebody in a video, writing the script for the video. It's really pretty much the alpha and omega of how we present ourselves and how what we say about ourselves looks to other people and how it's being perceived. There's a quote I love to use, which is, it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. So my job is to be that other part that helps my clients see themselves to where they can better make a decision of how they want to look in the frame when they're on the wall or on the internet or on the shelf at that product.
Before we hear from Aleen, can you just tell us what's the difference between like other clients and just women leaders?
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So now that you guys know what I do, I think I've worked with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and to be honest with you, I don't really think there's very much of a difference, other than the fact that I feel that women are sort of ranking higher on the emotional intelligence scale. I mean, there's lots of research on that as well. And I think it's much easier to talk to women about branding, because I think that women inherently are sort of curating their own brand, anyway. Like for a guy, you put on a suit, you get a buzz cut, and you're 90% there, and as a woman, you just have so much more to work with, and society expects you to work with that, and to some extent make some decisions. So I think women are coming into the branding conversation very well trained, unlike men. So that's why it's been easier actually for me to work with women than men.
And what's your take on that, Aleen? So basically, can you tell us a little bit more about your journey and experience with branding women leaders?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much, Leila, for the introduction. As a Middle Eastern woman, I will share my experience with great women from the region. And let me put this frame of thought first to be able to share my experience. As Arab women, we become a version of ourselves that aligns with what the culture seems to demand, rather than expecting the culture to reflect the truth of who we are. Few women knew how to play the game of personal branding in the right way and being authentic to their beliefs, values, and character. And the first point that throughout my experience with women founders and entrepreneurs from the Middle East, I highlight on the women in business, and not women who sells pink. I wanted to take their branding process to another level. And women in the Middle East are champions of the work. Women CEOs really do serve the community with their heart, mind, and own efforts. The fact is that women have an incredible amount of influence in business. All brands are trying harder in the region than ever. They are trying harder to engage women, and especially women who are in decision-making positions. So my aim to work on a clear process for Arab women leaders. For example, the first point that I focus on is emotions. The second, connectedness and transparency. In practice, when I start to do the strategy, I try to show her true self and expose her true character traits. We all know that being in business, a woman being in business is a powerful woman. Yes, she is the CEO and the decision maker. I'm talking about the culture in the Middle East, how they perceive women as a CEO. She is the decision maker, and she is brilliant. So a successful, perfectly. She knows perfectly. She owns her mission, and she knows how to face challenges. And the third point that I always focus on is she is beautiful. She is brilliant and beautiful. A successful woman in business has an inspiring life story. She wouldn't have made it without behaving or without believing in herself and going through ups and downs. And this is what builds the beauty at any woman. When she talks about her story, people will discover the human behind this high position in the society. So her inner beauty should be revealed through her inspiring story.
Great. Jinan, I would love to hear your take on that. What's your experience with branding women leaders, and what have you faced so far? Like any tips that you can give us on the matter?
Well, I'd like to start with saying thank you again for including me in this forum. I'm very happy to be here. I would like to start by saying that I'm very fortunate to have grown up in an all-female household. So I felt empowered from day one. I felt empowered since I was a child. And I grew up with 3 younger sisters, and we always, you know, we were each other's soundboards. We were each other's shoulders to cry on. We were each other's, you know, pillars of strength and so on. So I would love to thank my sisters and my mother and my father, God bless him, for being there as well. So I'm very fortunate to have this history. And that actually, it has really brought me into the world of, you know, empowering women, because women are they are the society that we live in. We shape the society. We bring families together. We raise children. We are the voices of reason. You know, I see us as women who will make a difference in our societies. I love to recognize the strengths in every woman, and I love to tell her what makes her different and show her how she's different. And I've done this throughout my career in events where I've worked with several women who have all very unique traits and very unique backgrounds. And with all of that in mind, I always love to highlight their passion and their strengths through their work. And it always shows in a beautiful way. It's always highlighted in a beautiful way. So
thank you very much. I'll go back to Chris. Chris, you are well sought after in this domain. So what's, in your opinion, the biggest benefit and challenge in developing a CEO or executive brand?
I think, I mean, it's kind of what I touched on earlier, which is, I think if there is a big challenge, then it's actually, I think, the decision maker, right? Because if the decision maker at the top doesn't really know how to make a good decision, and not because they're incapable of that, but maybe because they don't have the right tools. Maybe as a branding person, we don't do a good enough job explaining why a certain direction, you know, is the right decision to make. You know, then we lose them, and when that happens, that's awful, right? Because it's our job to make sure that people make the right decisions and that they have the right tools and that they are educated. Case in point, you know, if we have 3 drafts in front of you and you keep saying, no, I want to have a pink bunny as a logo, then what are we going to do? Eventually there's going to be a pink bunny there because eventually we have to wrap up the job. But you know, I mean, in certain cases, a pink bunny may be perfect, but in many cases it's not. And you can imagine our job is really to make sure that off the bat, we set a certain direction, we make suggestions, we see certain things, right? So sometimes, you know, we're called in and a business is saying, we've heard that our stuff needs to look better, but how do we look better? And our first job is to say, hey, wait a minute, it's actually not so much about just looking better. That's great, but do you guys have any goals? Oh yeah, we want to take the company from 20 million to 60 million. Okay, great. So shouldn't we then ask ourselves, how do we need to look as a business if we want to make 3 times the business, right? How does that look? How does that feel? What do our customers expect from a $60 million company than a barely $20 million company? And so, and then of course, sometimes the growth aspirations are much higher. Sometimes people want to make 10x, 20x. And there's a different set of expectations that comes with that. And also the employees, right? I think a lot of us keep forgetting that if you have, let's say, 5, 10, 20 employees, or even if you just have 1 assistant, where do you think your assistant or your 10 employees are more motivated to go to work? A properly branded company where they're excited to talk that they work there, they're proud of where they work, or where they have to make an apology every time they send somebody to the website because they say, oh, our website is not that great, right? Like we've all been there, right? That excused website, as I call it, when we have to make an apology every time we send somebody there. I think that it makes a difference. And for us in the beginning, as branding people, as branders, to educate people on the importance of those decisions and the importance of the decisions to come from that place of a complete transformation and into something more profitable, then that is then that's our first job, and our last job is then to actually deliver the final finished product. But it's really, so when you ask about what's the biggest challenge is making sure that the decision maker understands the vision, the complexity, and the chance that is in branding to truly be great and to finally notch your brand in at a level to where it communicates how great you actually are, as opposed to just going with another iteration of the thing you've always done.
Great. And before I go with the same question to Aleen, I just wanted to tap on a matter because you are here with us today. Which is harder to work with, an individual who is a CEO or an executive brand as a company?
It really depends on the person themselves. I think at the end of the day, when you work on a brand, it actually doesn't really matter whether it's a product or a person, because at the end of the day, what you're fighting for as a branding guy is always somebody's attention span. So my job is to make sure that somebody that sees you for the first time spends as much quality time with you, of course not you, but your interface, which means your website or your mobile site or your sales page or your Instagram or your Twitter or whatever. Like, in other words, they stay engaged in a positive manner as long as possible and as long as it takes for you to bring your information across. Eventually they'll click on something else. Eventually they'll scroll on. Eventually their attention will go somewhere else. That's a given. But my job is to make sure that stays as long as possible. So whether it's a product or person really makes very little difference. What does make a difference is what you asked me earlier, which is how perceptive is the leader at the top? Do they understand what we're trying to do? And do they make the right decisions? And do they help us, give the right directions? Do they help share with us what their clients really need? Like, what is this? What are the challenges in their sales process? What do we need for people to buy into in their head before they click the buy it now button? If the business owner is helping us understand what that is so we can overcome it, then we're off to a great start. Great.
Aleen, then basically I'll bring the same question to you, but I want to tap on your experience in personal branding and on the matter. So if you can speak in general on this part.
Yes. Actually, Chris explained what is exactly a personal branding for a CEO or executive. And I'm going to reshape it a little bit more for the Middle East region. It's very simple. Every CEO is the ambassador of his organization. And whether he is the owner of the business or a CEO, in such a noisy, crowded market full of competition, it's the people, not the company, that makes the stories. And people bring companies to life. So they personify the company, the values and the vision become synonymous. When all is done well and every present strategy and tactics are well applied, the CEO high profile will be a valuable asset for himself or herself personally, as well as for the employees. Engagements in the CEO's ideas goes up, loyalty to the brand and advocacy go up, forgiveness for the mistakes go up, especially I'm talking for big companies in the region. And when the CEO is branded, any crisis management that could happen to his brand will be controlled easier. So when also a CEO is branded, the speed to recover the brand's negative sentiments are accelerated to justify ideas, and this can be a different this can make a difference in handling critical situations. So an executive woman in business is perceived, how she is perceived is very important for her career path. It drives her into positions of leadership and influence, and it gives her meaningful work and interesting projects. It grants her credibility to herself and to her business ideas as well. Benefits of personal branding are many. But let me mention three big benefits, and be more specific. First, the standout status. And by being branded and showing to the world who she really is, I'm talking about women entrepreneur, she will be giving herself a competitive advantage and will be able to rise above the noise to claim her price. And the second point is the media attention. You and I, we know, Leila, that media people need experts. They require facts, insights, opinion from people in the know. And media people seek out those well-branded authority figures. And last but not least, her power to influence. People will take action if they trust the CEO or the branded person, let's say, not only the CEO woman, she can be a CSC executive woman, or even a diplomat or a politician, future politician. They will pay attention to what CEO, let's say, says, and they will support her and her vision. And that's where the CEO will be able to sell any idea to get people's contribution.
All right, and before we move to Jinan, I would just want to ask you, what was the biggest challenge you faced in this part, basically trying to brand women over here?
The way to change the perception of what is personal branding. A lot think that a personal brand is just to as personal image. They are still confused between personal image and personal brand. We are in the phase of educating the market in the Middle East. And gladly, I'm lucky enough to meet really influencing women who they want to change this perception of personal branding and become real leaders and start influencing people around them. The main challenge is how to convince them to be more authentic, have clear targets, and it's not only about 3 months. It's a long-term project. It can be built. Any personal brand can be built in 2-3 months. It's fine. However, if she really wants to stay in the competitive situation and give herself a better place in the market, she has to know that branding herself is not done in 2 or 3 months. It's a long project for at least 6 months to 1 year. So the media will be able to really understand that she is a leader and she has a leadership character, not only being branded for likes or followers or just being recognized in some magazines in the region. So the main challenge is to keep her convinced that she has to stay in the pool. Once she's in, she cannot get out of it easily.
So basically, it's a process, and it's a long-term process where you take them from one step and one level to another. It doesn't happen overnight. Thank you very much, Aleen. Jinan, much of your work is about helping women build an edge. Can you tell us more about that?
I would love to. First of all, I get so excited when I hear the word edge. It's my favorite word in the world. How do I do that? I'm fortunate enough to know what my personal brand is, and I'm fortunate enough to know that I need to work on it and develop it. So that's the first step in finding out what gives me my edge, the fact that I have one, and the fact that I know what it is. So this is how I push women to think about what makes them different. What is the factor that differentiates you from the rest of the women? Because we see, especially in the Middle Eastern region, a lot of women love to imitate each other. They do everything the other woman does, mainly because of, prestige or jealousy, or I hate to say it, but it's true. And the thing is, we are all original in our own way. So why should we copy anyone else? You have a personality, and you should show it. And if that personality isn't liked by everybody, then you're doing the right thing. Because if you're liked by everyone, then there's something wrong. Nobody is perfect. but you have an edge. So before COVID, we had a TEDx a conference here in Amman, Jordan, that I was the co-organizer for. It was basically the theme was showing up, and about 12 women, 12 was it 14, maybe 14 women were all talking about what made them show up for their community, what made them show up for their businesses, what made them show up for the environment, the earth, and so on. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody has a field of interest. If you sit down and you think about it, you will know what differentiates you from the rest of the people. And if you're brave enough to explore it, that's how you know what your edge is.
That was very thorough. And at any point where you met with resistance from some of your clients, some of the women leaders that you worked with, in terms of basically they didn't want to build that edge. They wanted to remain at one point mitigated, or they didn't want that approach.
Yes, of course. Fear is a huge part of self-discovery. When you know that you have to discover something in order to step out of your comfort zone and seek the truth about who you really are, then, I mean, me specifically, yes, I've seen a lot of resistance. I've seen a lot of fear. I've seen a lot of hesitation, but that's only a hurdle or a speed bump on the road to your full potential and to success. There is no easy road to success. You have to go through all the ups and downs, the bumps on the road to reach your full potential. And it is possible. It may take time, but it is possible.
Thank you, Jinan. Everything is possible when you put your mind to it. And I'm moving now to Chris again to talk about edge as well, because Chris, I do believe that branding is all about developing and showing edge to you. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the term edge just, I think, basically means kind of like where you end and the rest of the world begins, right? And the harder that edge is, the more clearly there's a contrast between who you are and then the rest of the world, right? And it's almost like if I'm wearing a white shirt and everything around me is white, it's hard to see where I end and where the world begins, right? And if I wear a black shirt, then it's very clear where my edge is, right? And I think that this is really how I like to look at edge. It's not so much about, can I be confrontational, especially in today's age. Your edge doesn't have to be edginess. It can be kindness. It can be just a very unique way in which you choose to express yourself, right? Or, maybe sometimes it's about more finding out what's unique about you. Sometimes in our process, we define sort of two adjectives that may be not usually going together, such as, he's or she is very, she's very intelligent, but very playful. Oh, wow. Now I want to know more about her, right? Because I know there's going to be something interesting here. Or she's very, very rigid, but she's hilarious. Okay, cool. Now I want to meet her. See what I'm saying? I'm defining her edge by non-ambiguous terms, right? If I said she's interesting, well, in what way? That's just making a promise, right? But if I say she's brilliant, highly intelligent, but she's also hilarious, right? These are both words are pushed to the edge of what they mean. I didn't say she's smart, can be funny. See that? That's bland, right? But she's hilarious, but brilliant. That's brand, right? That's where I feel an edge. So when I say edge, or when we use the word edge, it's really just, how do you really stand out, and how far can we push these adjectives, these attributes of yours, to where we really start to show your character in those markers, right? And I think that even for when we work with people, we can be edgy because we're creative people, and we really push people to their best, and we take stake in the decisions we make, but also we're really nurturing to our clients. So in other words, on one hand, we push our clients, at the same time, we're there to be pulled in and understand when they're having when they need a moment or whatever, right? So that's part of our brand, is to be supportive, but also challenging, right? Do you see where that goes? So this is how we define edge, and we really believe, and this is everybody has an edge. Everybody has an edge, but that doesn't mean everybody's edgy. It just means that everybody has something that separates them from the background, to where we clearly see who they are. And that's what makes us beautiful. And that's why also copying other people doesn't really work, because you're just essentially just hitting the repeat button on something that you're not. So why would you do that?
So basically, how do you know that this is the farthest you can go or push towards that edge with your clients? I mean, how do you know that you should stop here?
Well, I think that just needs to be, everything about our job is non-scientific, okay? In other words, you feel your way into it. And I think that as a branding person, your main skill set is to be highly empathetic, and not just empathetic to your clients. That's fairly easy. Every business owner has to do that. But empathetic to all their potential prospects, all their potential customers, all the people that get a first impression on them, and say, you know what? No, that's taken it a little bit too far. Let's just dial it down a little bit, right? But it's just like picking a shade of blue for somebody and saying, no, that's a little bit too purple. No, that's a little bit too navy. I think that's a little bit too Microsoft. Let's be right here, right? And I think that that's intuitive, right? If clients ask me, well, where's your data? Where's your data that that's too purple? I can't give them that. You know what I mean? But I'm here to talk about it.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Aleen, where are you? You've managed to build one of the most influential reputations for personal branding in our region, MENA region. What have your pillars to success been, and how do you actually carry that through with your clients at Ascendant?
Okay, very nice question, Leila, and thanks for asking it. Let's start from here. Building a personal brand is different than managing a reputation. Do you agree?
Definitely, I do agree.
Great. So to be exceptional, you need a career capital. Okay, few people know about this technique, the career capital. Who you are, what did you do, what is your experience background? You've got to make your star shine so bright that people that can count, that people who count notice it. So, and take this one, which is really true. Reputation is about the power to trade for the mission you love on your terms. Okay, so building influencing reputation is not done in days, as I mentioned before. It takes time because it's a long-term game. Maybe you're wondering now whether a reputation is the same as career capital, as I mentioned before. So the reality is the reputation is a component of career capital. I'll mention some components here for you, so to show you the pillars to build a career capital. First, you have reputation, your powerful name that invokes trust, credibility, and authority. It has to be really solid. Connections, which hold relationship capital, this is the second component, and influence for the ability to make people act, think, or believe. Usefulness is the person who is being branded or being recognized in the society is really solving problems. And productivity as well is one of the components. People will know if the work is done in a smart way and quickly. And trust me, this is only shown through media. Here, the media plays a major role. The achievements, the person should keep record of really good results, and attitude. Here, we have to ask the question for the branded person. Is the motivation always high? It's down, and why? How people are seeing the big picture of this specific influencing person. The attitude is very important, whether he feels down or up, depending on the situation that's happening around him. So this is the checklist that I use when creating a strategic presence. All of that cannot be done if media is not involved. In addition to a very important factor, what I call ninjas on digital media, who are normal people with significant number of followers from a specific area, country, or a field. So we can never actually, it's very hard to build a reputation without ninjas on digital media. I'm talking again about the Middle Eastern region. Partnering with Ascendant Global gave clients in the Middle East the access to easily expose themselves in global media, especially in the US. And influencing figures need to be recognized and known for their achievements, more specifically when some local media outlets or regional media outlets fail to spread the right message. So here was the main advantage of Ascendant Global presence in the region, all along with different strategic partners.
Wow, this is very interesting. Both you and Chris actually tapped on the issue of branding and labeling. Chris, I want to go back to you. You also talked about clients being branded or getting labeled. What do you mean by that?
You asking me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because both tap on the matter of branding and labeling.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that you can't opt out of the branding process, and that's what you get branded or you get labeled means. Which means that I sometimes make that example in saying, let's say you have a first interview at a new job, and you choose to show up in your pajamas because you say, I'm not going to dress up. I'm way too cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to have to do that. Well, so you just go the same way you woke up. That's just how you look, Well, you made a decision to opt out of getting dressed, but you're still going to be judged for not being dressed up. In other words, you're going to make a choice of what you're going to wear. Even if you choose to wear nothing, that's a choice. And so you can't opt out of being branded. You're already making a branding decision by the way you apply your makeup in the morning, okay? By the way you choose to have your hairstyle, by the color of your clothing and so forth, right? And so same with a product, right? Your product is going to be packaged in some kind of way or form. Even if your website would just have typeface on it, that's still a decision. So you're making a branding decision, whether you want it or not. You are branded, a branded item, whether you want it or not. And one of my other favorite sayings is anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. And of course, what that means is anything that's worth doing at all means it's doing well. It means it's doing it well. And I think that if you know that you're already part of a branded process, then why not do it well? And I think that's where we invite entrepreneurs, whether they have a product or whether the product is themselves, to embrace that and say, let's get good at this. Either hire someone like us, or get good at it yourself. But make it a priority, because that may be the difference between a much higher level of success than you've already achieved. And that may be the ceiling that you keep pushing against, is how you're being perceived. And it's so much fun for us to make sure that we can, when we remove that ceiling and we can say, hey, look, the sky is the limit. This is available to you for as long as you make these 3 or 4 decisions. I think once you embrace that as a fact, it's much easier to say, okay, I'm going to get good at this. I'm going to make it a decision that my brand's not going to suck anymore. And then you make that decision and you fix it.
Great. So basically you help paint the solutions for them, and they get to pick from it, whichever best basically suits them, that will go well with their projection and their career going forward. I want to ask a question to all of you now, both Aleen and Jinan, and you, Chris, as well. You've branded people from all walks of life, from many different backgrounds and nationalities. What has allowed you to have the flexibility to have a seemingly borderless approach to developing great brands?
Right. So I think that, to me, it really comes back down to people. right? So so the person we're branding is a person, and even if they're just the person behind a product, it's still about their vision for the product, right? And then who's the ultimate decision maker who decides over success and failure? Well, it's always another person, right? Every customer makes a decision every time they make a purchase. And that job is, so in other words, the customer sees an interface, which is what we design. It's a branded interface, and then makes a decision to either go deeper or move on, right? And when you break it down like this, it's actually really simple, because it doesn't matter what the culture is. It doesn't matter what the country is. Every culture, every person has an attention span. Always have, always will have, which is the time from when they're curious to the time when they say, ah, got it, okay, I'm moving on, right? If my answer to this question would stop being interesting, or I would keep going over the same point over and over and over again, I would start noticing you guys shifting in your seats. I would start you kind of looking away and maybe checking your phone, because I can read your body language, because you're human, okay? So why do we not pay attention to those things? Okay, those are universal things. And like I said, let's get good at them. Let's make sure that we honor people's attention spans. Let's give them the information that they need to make a decision, and then let's move on. And for as long as we do that elegantly, then very likely we're gonna come up ahead. And that's the job of a well-branded interface. So if you understand people, chances are you're pretty good at branding.
Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask Jinan about her personal experience, because she worked with the likes of royalties, celebrities, and other people. How flexible is it to work with these people, and how flexible is it for her to shift between all of these people as well when basically developing a brand? If she can tell us more about her experience. So it's like kind of a deviation from question 6, but at the same time, I want to hear her experience on this matter.
I've worked, as you've mentioned, yes, with very diverse backgrounds and people, and the thing is, no two people are the same. Everybody has a different approach to life. Everybody has a different culture. Everybody has a different personality. And yes, the royals are tough. They're not easy. I'm sure you know as well, Leila, with your background in your career, they're not easy, but at the end of the day, just like Chris said, they are humans, they are people, and they have emotions, and they have, even though they have an agenda, their agenda is usually driven by emotion, by whether it be by, political reasons or human or emotional reasons or whatsoever. It is our job as experts in the field to guide these people and to help them find the correct key messaging to use for their audience, whether they're ruling a country or running a business. So we help them find the key messages to reach the audience that they want to reach and influence them in the way they want to influence them. And we don't do that by changing who they are. We basically, accentuate or, make their personality larger than life, because this is what we do. We take you and we don't put you in a box. We just, enlarge your image out into the world. And this is what branding really is all about, people.
No, actually, this is interesting to add, like the color for such a question. I'm looking at Aleen and she's smiling, and I know that she has a hefty answer for me. Aleen, I want to hear your take on the matter.
I'm not that flexible like Jinan because I work with CEOs and high-profile people based on one-on-one approach. There is a power when we get together and fight against what is coming against the brand of the CEO or the influencing person. I always explain, and I make sure from the beginning, one main thing, that it's a job of two. We need to brand together, and together we will change the future of his own personal branding and reputation. I'm not that flexible. However, you tell me if we should be flexible, yes or no?
Well, you're the expert on this matter. I mean, to some point, Chris spoke about basically pushing towards the edge. So you should know the purple from the navy.
Exactly. And yeah, it's not easy. We have to respect their time. We have to respect their pressure. However, reputation is always number one priority in our for what we're doing. So his personal brand and name and own presence on in the media, digital media, and any kind of presence tool is a must in our field.
To wrap it up, Aleen, Jinan, and Chris will be doing a review of Viola Edward, the existing brand. And Viola Edward is a well-being and mental health expert with 30 years of experience. She is the founder of Feminine Capital Forum and Systemic Breathing, CEO, co-founder, and owner of Grit Academy and Kayana Systemic Consulting, partner ED of Creative Women Platform. This woman is very talented. She is the co-creator of the BQ Breathe Intelligence. Viola also sits on the boards of several magazines and NGOs and serves as ambassador for human rights for the gender equity. And I want to add as well, she's the most colorful person at the moment, and she gives such a positive vibe, having her among us on this panel. She's the author of 2 books, Breathing the Rhythm of Success, and the Amazon bestseller, Who Makes the Bed? I would love to know who makes the bed, by the way. Both translated to Spanish, co-author of 11 more. Aleen, take it away.
Thank you so much, Leila, for presenting Viola in this in this way. True, Viola is one of the most colorful person I've ever met. Viola, are you here? Thanks for being here with us today.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you so much for this beautiful presentation and colorful and warm.
Viola, we are so excited you could join us today. Talk with us a little bit more about your objectives for the next 12 months.
Well, you're asking a person who is multi-potentialite and has a story of changes and migration and languages and interrupting school every year. So this is, to start an interview with this, is we start with the challenge. So as I work with wellness and mental health fitness, one of my major objectives for this year, after all what happened to all of us during this time being locked down, is to have the balance between all my interest in life, all my duties, and my health and my family. That is my first objective that I really work with every day. And then I have created a company during COVID time. So it's just become 1 year old, the Grit Academy, because I have to shift quickly. I will tell you how it happens. So my goal for this year is to go to 5 languages. We already do it. We already teach online in Spanish and English. So I'm going to Arabic, Russian, and Greek this year. This is my goal. And also going global. I become also this year part of the Creative Women Platform. That is a company that has 5 years of age. So we're transforming the platform to go into membership and to go global. So it's a lot of work to do. And through the Grit Academy, so we have 2 main programs, one for self-development, and another program is to train mentors, coaches to give that program of self-development. It's function as a franchise. So I want to train another 25 mentors, coaches this week. And I want another 1,000 people in the first program of self-development that is related to 7 weeks, 2 hours a week. After being enclosed all this time, obviously meeting my family abroad is one of my goals also, because I'm a person people, and my capital relational is one of my biggest capital. And I want to keep helping one person a week And I know I help different people around the world, but I want to touch the life of one person a week as I do, and I dedicate time to it. I want another 5 influencer to influence, to mentor. I want to be, one day somebody asked me, what do you want to be? If you could choose whatever you want to be, the president of any company, I said, I want to be who I am. I want to be the influencer of influencers. And this is what I want to do. So I want 5 of those, and also find the balance to fulfill my role as a board director and ambassador to 10 organizations that I'm involved with. And I will be part of 3 more collective books this year.
Yes, very, very interesting, Viola. Thanks a lot for sharing all those objectives with us. I have a couple of questions for you, but before I'm going to open it up to the team for questions. Chris and Jinan. Chris, Viola mentioned that she wants to influence the influencers. So I really want to know your questions regarding this main beautiful topic that she just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, hi Viola, very nice to meet you.
Hi Chris. Are you going to be branding me then?
Well, we have to talk about that. But yeah, so I mean, it all sounds really interesting. I mean, I don't want to get super more granular to, because I think that, you've mentioned so many different objectives that you have, and I think they're all achievable because they're all going sort of in the same direction, right? It's not like, there's something out of left field. They all seem to be aligned, so, you definitely have a lot of energy, and you have a drive to share it with the world. I think that for me, my main question would be, how does your main website, the one that's at violaedward.com, how does this website play into all your endeavors? Is this sort of the central hub for all your endeavors, or is it more sort of a side site that is just there for publicists and that kind of stuff?
Yes. So we have 2 websites, mine, that some of the branding experts insisted that I keep my branding because I'm the brand for my companies. There's another company that I didn't mention, but it shifted a little bit during COVID time. So, and we have the Grit Academy website. So maybe it's important for me to tell you here that I disappeared from international market for 14 years. And so I used to live in Venezuela and have my name and my fame there. And then in beginning of 2003, following my heart, and moved to Cyprus. And as you know, Cyprus is a divided country, and I have my main residency in the Turkish side of Cyprus. That it was before the gate opened. So in a way, I had to make a decision in that time. If I keep international, this marriage of mine will not function. It was my first marriage. I was 44, and I'm entering into a marriage, married a foreigner person too. Or what to do? So I decided to move country and to focus in the new community. That took me 7 years plus 7 years to really, really stand and be solid here. And after these 14 years, I went back to my international field. And in that time, what happened is that I didn't know what the world wants from me. Of course, as a person who started to work at 13 and went back at 57, so I have accumulated a lot of experience, knowledge, and transcultural experience, because I work in 3 languages. So it was a little bit, this is what I was saying to Aleen, my branding was a little bit chaotic, because every time I would be with somebody, and Jinan said, because I didn't find the good branding people to work with me. One question everybody will ask me, but what do you like to do? And I would look at them. I said, everything I do is related, and everything I do, I like to do. So in a way, Chris, to answer your question, I took my branding in my own hand, which I'm not an expert in branding, but I'm an expert in my field, and did whatever I could do. And then these websites come to kind of balance and hold a little bit the multiple things I was doing. So that was the main one. And now we are rebranding And we are shifting to, not shifting, but opening to the Grit Academy, which is a company I'm doing with my sister. And yes, so to answer you, the violaedward.com was the one who was holding what I was doing in the world.
Viola, if I can ask a question before the team actually asks you. You stopped for 14 years and then you came back to a world that has changed a lot. And now you're trying to help others as well. You said like you want to help at least one person a day. My question is, how different is today's world from back 30 years when you first started working in this domain?
Yeah, it's very different. I'm from the generation that we started working in, when I was 13. It was 1972 when I migrated from Lebanon to Venezuela. My mom is Lebanese and I lived 8 years in Lebanon. I was born in Iraq and I lived there. My dad is Ashuri Iraqi and I lived there for 4.5 years. So then it's the change at 13. This is why I become what they call the third culture kids. When you move one child from a culture to another in their years of formation. So there is also that mixture in me from when I started in early 70 to what is now. It's a huge change, but it was, my career was going like slowly, but the interruption in the peak of my career in South America and my decision to focus in my personal life and to dedicate, because there is another part of the story that I could never be in depth in a relationship. And finally I was now there, and my decision to stop that part and dedicate to my relationship and to the community, because I knew I'm going to work. And I encourage every woman that, or every person, that we have the right to change. We have the right to shift. We have this right. Okay, it's going to be challenging, but we can, with help of many experts later, we can do it. So I make that decision. And it was also very hard to be in an island that is divided, that is 2 new languages for me, that I was very good for languages, but these 2 I couldn't learn because at home, I was now speaking in English. My husband is British, which I'm not speaking in my mother tongue that changed already 3 times, Ashuri, Arabic, Spanish. So already now speaking in English, so imagine, plus I'm dyslexic. So it was a little bit chaotic situation, you know. After 14 years, when I went back to international market, wow, it was the all online business. In my time as an international speaker, we used to have an organizer in different countries. Now it's different, you know. It was for me, I don't know, I was not scared, but certainly very challenged. I mean, very challenged. It took me ages to learn a lot of things of the online business. It also, by that time, you know, I know who I am. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. But I had to taste so many things, you know, and that was a little bit challenging. I thought it's going to take me a couple of years to go back. Actually, it took 3 years because I had an accident and I delayed a little bit. So, but at the end, I recovered my visibility, and it was the time to get a lot of international recognition, awards, and many things. In the middle of all these, my mom passed away. My mom, that was mother and father, because my dad died when I was 3.5 years. So it was, you know, as usual in our life, we have a lot of personal challenge, and also we're business people. We have businesses to care about, and we have people that they are working with us and for us and accompany us, and we have to hold all and keep going. So it has been a nice journey, and especially for me that I'm with diversity and I have that call to serve as for human rights and my philanthropy work. So it's a little bit, I would say the word I say is lovingly chaotic, let's say, or colorfully chaotic, but still is a lot to do. Yeah. And what else I can tell you, well, is not very easy also to brand me because of all these mix of culture, is the age. I have a lot of energy. I know I'm not gonna help everybody, but I always say, but everybody can help someone. So that's the idea, how we can do that,
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think that you've done what I really like is that you've done, you know, a really good job at branding yourself. I think, you know, what's clear when I look at the Grit Academy website, is I get a very clear sense that I'm looking at a branded company, right? And when I look at your personal branding website, I'm getting a clear idea that I'm looking at a personal brand. So I think you've managed the objective that you set out to meet. Now, where I see a challenge is in how well is that actually done. I think that I would love to see a little bit more color in your personal website. I mean, I love muted colors. I love a lot of the grays, but I think just a little bit more of a color scheme. Like, for example, if the maybe the pink that's in your lipstick, the reddish pink, would be carried throughout the button and maybe your logo a little bit, or just something where there's a clear stylistic decision made with color. I really like your logo. I love the way you're writing the Viola. I think that's really unique with that circle around it. I mean, the last name is a bit of an afterthought. That could probably be improved a little bit. If I were you, I would take a slightly different type of photo at this point. I think this is a nice shot. I really do. It feels a little bit truncated. It feels a bit cut off. In other words, it's not quite a portrait and it's not quite a torso shot. So it's kind of, on my screen at least, it's kind of halfway. So if it's cropped this way, I kind of wonder, like, I want to see more. Like, I want to see more of the body and see the full torso, or I want to see it cropped higher to where I know it's just a portrait, right? And then the other thing is sometimes just a head in a photo is, especially when you see just half of the torso but no hand, sometimes it helps to have a hand in it, and it may be a little bit unnatural, but you know, I mean, even like a little thing, like, I mean, of course my laptop distorts it right now, but if you imagine just seeing this, right, which is just sort of a guy with a torso, right, versus like something like this where there's a guy and you can see my hand, that, you know, little things like this from a posture perspective, it's actually a primal thing. People, when people see that you show your hands, they can tell that you're not carrying any weapons, right? And they see more of you, and it makes it a little bit more, you know, it just makes it. That's why we shake hands. That's why, you know, we raise our hands like this, and we say, well, we have no idea. It's like, here, I got nothing, right? So it's sort of a humble gesture. And I think the fact that you kind of turned away from me and then kind of looking over at me is not quite as immediate as I want to see it. So I like your makeup in the shot. I like your hair looks great, but I think the posture could be a little bit more well picked, as well as the expression. So that's where I would start to work with. And then of course, the whole question is, who's your customer? What is the content? And is there a promise that is really enveloping? So embracing clarity for sustained success, that's great, right? Because people want clarity, people want success, and they want sustained success, right? A lot of times when people create headlines, they make promises that aren't worth having, where they say, I don't know, we help you, get more focus. It's like, okay, for what, right? More focus so I can feel what? People always kind of look for a feeling, right? And clarity is a feeling, success is a feeling, and sustained success is a feeling. So you're doing a very good job laying out a promise. I wish there was kind of a video button right there to click on, just to where I can dive in and learn more about you right away. I think that would be great. But other than that, I think you're doing a nice job, sort of, as far as a personal branding website. This certainly is in the better category of what we usually look at.
Thank you. I'll follow those advices as immediate as possible. I have nice photos, full body and more color. I think, yeah. I think they decided with these neutral because I appear a lot with color, so they said let's put it neutral. But I agree with you. Time to change that. Yes, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you, Chris, for this very thorough examination of all the aspects. We have to move to Jinan now because she has a question and she's been waiting for some time before moving to Aleen as well, and then we wrap up. Jinan, you have a question for Viola,
Thank you,
right?
Chris. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Leila. Yes, I do have a question for Viola. Viola, people know you, they know your brand because they know you. So basically, your name is your brand. How do you put yourself out there? What are the channels that you use in order to, you know, for example, social media, it's huge. It plays a huge part in everybody's brand. And I think Aleen is going to ask you a question later about networking and so on. But I just want you to give me a gist on what is your favorite social media platform to use in connecting with people and spreading the message of your brand?
Well, the best that I like is that I have the connection with people. Believe me or not, I still take the phone. I want to talk with people, you know. I think that is my major. If I always said, if I have 1 minute to connect my voice with the other, 1 second, that client is mine or is somebody else's, you know, but I make the connection. So social media, it has been a challenge for me to learn it also. So I think every time I arrive a little bit late, but for now, like Clubhouse, finally I'm pioneering, like I'm very good there. And I think it's because maybe sound, I speak every day with my husband. Why is it that I manage that so much better than the others? Yeah, I like them all. I would say I like them all. For me, LinkedIn, I like many things about it. I think Facebook, for the years that we've been in Facebook since 2007, I've been there. So kind of I manage it better. And it took me a little bit time to learn about Instagram, but I think I'm much better also with it. When you see them also, you see these, because because I'm part of like 10 organizations, part of the board. So I post about them and they always tell me, no, you have to have a line here. Or at the end, it's not, as I told you before, it's like what I do now, I try, and this is an advice I give to a lot of people, try to be yourself. Like I don't allow in the photos, generally, I don't allow them to make a lot of Photoshop because I said, I'm out there speaking. I want the people to see the photo that they see in social media related to who I am, you know? So usually I don't do a lot of touch of that. So I think this is one of my things. And later I know you have to have content, but when I'm very in a hurry and I could not have the content, I prefer not to have content than any content. I prefer not to promise things that are not right. I take a lot of care about what it's said, because even when they correct my text, because in English sometimes we have to correct my text, I always said, please don't use words that I cannot use in a speech. So my major technique, I would say, in social media, that it look as much as I am. You know, I want it to be as the most similar to I am, with the least makeup possible. I don't know if with that I answer your question. And this is how I've been dealing with it, with the little technicality I have had.
Finally. I have a very small question, but I want to tell you something. You are, I'm following you as well on Clubhouse, and I'm a fan of your, wherever you are, I can follow you even when you speak in Spanish, because of two things. Your voice, it's, let's say your voice is very attractive, Viola, and the tonality that you use to stress on topics and words. And you know how to use your voice in a way to attract people with the right tonality. This is what I wanted to say. And I'm happy that you are pioneering on Clubhouse. I know few people in your field are active in this on this platform. And I hope that Leila will join as well very soon, because she's still doesn't believe in in Clubhouse. Not yet. We're trying to convince her. Viola, with the colorful and chaotic and lovely brand that you have, we all agree here that you have a colorful brand, especially your hair. Even every person that you meet, the only thing that he will remember, that will remind him about you, is your white hair. And I want to know how your personal brand, even if you're not branded, you are active on social media platform. Let's say you are present. How your presence helped you in networking on social media? What were the secrets to reach people on social media?
Yeah, I think also my hair, this is a great example about how a challenge can become an opportunity. Because really it was a challenge having that white hair and having to apply the color every 5 days, you know, because I used to have brownish, reddish hair, but I'm white hair from a very early age. So this is like very interesting to see how you can make a challenge like hair, like aging. Like, for example, I have 2.5 sizes more than I used to be. How to make all that an opportunity and not to hide yourself and not to dramatize it. Keep taking care of yourself, but make the best of who you have become. Especially for women after, you know, giving birth or the processes that aging after menopause, etc. It's very important, this message that I send to women.
Yes.
Don't hide yourself, make the best possible. So I think one of the branding I did, you know, I lived the changes of my life as honorable and as graceful as possible. And I think people relate to that, and people kind of also like it and honor it in a way. Some people tell me, I wish I dare, and later they dare. I have so many friends of mine that have let their white hair and, you know, or whatever, you know, they dress a little bit more colorful or, you know, I mean, we change, everything change in life. So let's embrace the change. And I think the other thing is about an attitude. I'm a person. I love people. This is my passion. And since I was a child, my love for human behavior was like fascinating. Like everybody knew that I'm gonna be working in psychology, but life took me to 21 years to work in corporate before I become the psychotherapist and the mentor and all what I am today. So I had to do a big round before that. But also that was a challenge that nowadays I use it for that and business. I'm such a particular and very good business consultant because I know what happened in the business inside. And I know also about my experience of psychotherapy and mentoring. So in the business consultancy, I'm quite unique. So I would say, and also I look always to see how I can help. So I have a presence in social media, but I do like this interactive. It's very natural. And one day somebody told me, but this is part of your branding, but it was natural. Like I will see Jinan in a post or she's doing something and I will write to her, like, how can I help you? I'm so and so, you know, I can, please write an article to that magazine that I'm part of. So I think it has been a combination of me transforming in the woman who I am now and the attitude I have to give before I ask and how the world is growing and me also growing with it, you know? So I think it's a combination of things that take me to that moment of how I am there.
And you're also building on something that you have to create something better as well. So you're taking the aspects that some people might see as negative, like gray hair or anything else, but you're transforming it into something positive and you're making it your own brand. I wouldn't want to end this session with such amazing women of multinational backgrounds from the Middle East. So before wrapping up, I would love to hear from everyone what are your inspirational words to women in the Middle East, basically CEOs, executives?
I want to say, wow, look at us. We're all from different backgrounds. We're all from different, continents on the planet. We're all on different, we all have one thing in common. We all have a personal brand. Everybody on earth has a personal brand, whether they know it or not. Some people choose to ignore it. Some people choose to leverage it. I challenge you to leverage it, and I challenge you to think about it and start asking yourself the question, do I know what my personal brand is? And if I do or don't, am I going to seek, someone to help me figure that out? And what can I do to benefit the world around me? And how can I deliver my message with style, with grace, and with 100% or more return on investment? Because you are investing in yourself when you personally brand yourself. It is an investment. So just think about it, ask yourself those questions, and always smile, because the world will smile back at you.
I see Aleen smiling from her small frame on Zoom. Please do share us with us.
We always say when I see someone like not really smiling, and I have it on my most of my photos, smile, it increases your face value. So yes, I agree with Jinan. I always smile. For me, for every woman in my region, I say, now that you know exactly what is a CEO branding and influencing reputation, and what it can do for you if it's done well. So set the scene for what you're going to do with your personal brand as a CEO, how you're going to play and win your career game. Start building today an outstanding name, even if it is chaotic. Try it. A name that will make you unstoppable and give you maximum control in securing the mission you love, again, on your own terms.
Wow, that was amazing. So going from Jinan, who tells people, smile, don't panic, and enjoy other people's experience in your life, you're saying smile increases your value. And then we're moving to Viola before we wrap up. Viola, what's your, not advice, but what's your inspirational word, like in one sentence, to women in the Middle East or women out there who want to build their own brand?
Yes, there is no limit of time to learn. Please ask for support in the areas where you need it. And I want to tell you that the 3 principles for well-being according to positive psychotherapy are: 1, positum mean that we have everything we need to grow and to heal. 2, go into balance, the principle of balance, yeah? So, and 3, the principle of consultancy. Because balance, life will take us out of balance or will challenge us to be in balance. And when that happens, we'll use our positum, positive is coming from Latin positum. We will use everything we have to deal with it. But there is some areas that is not our expertise, is new, so ask for support. And this is, 3rd is the principle of consultancy. So please, first, don't leave your pain alone, ask for help. 2, grow, asking for support, so you grow in a way that you're aligned with your values and your vision and your purpose. Even if you don't know them yet, there is expert that we can help you to get them in the way how you feel comfortable with them. And look at me, I'm signing contract now after we finish here, yeah? So always learn and always go for more and more learning. The life is teaching and learning, teaching and learning. Thank you so much for this space. I did enjoy it, and the advices and your beautiful smile and your energy, beautiful. Count on me.
Thank you very much, Viola, for your time, and Jinan and Aleen as well, and Chris, who left us earlier. This has been not only amazing and an honor to be among you and to moderate this session, but it's also interesting to know more about Ascendant Group and what you're doing to your clients and what you're doing to each other as well. So I would end it with this word. Thank you very much for your time, and keep growing women in the Middle East with your basically positive work. Thank you.